Hey everyone, my name is Caitlin and welcome to my channel. I share easy and accessible vegan recipes, so if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and click that little button right down there to subscribe if you're not already. In this video, I'm going to be showing you everything that I eat in a week as a vegan. I think sometimes what I eat in a day videos, it is just a day, so it doesn't really show like the whole variety of what I might eat through a week, how I use my leftovers, because let's be realistic, most people don't cook very elaborate meals for themselves 3 times a day, every single day in a week. At least I don't, and I'm a professional food blogger, so I don't know who has that kind of time. I'm also really excited for this video because I'm going to be using my friend Lauren's new cookbook. If you don't know Lauren, I don't know why you wouldn't know Lauren, because she's awesome and is like an OG vegan queen. She runs the food blog Hot for Food and shares delicious vegan recipes that will make you hot for food. So this is actually her second cookbook and it's hot for food all day. So she shares a lot of easy everyday recipes, so I thought it would be perfect to try a few of them throughout this week. And the other thing I love about this cookbook is she has base recipes that you can transform into other recipes. So it's a great way to level up your leftovers, as she likes to say. So I'm gonna be doing that throughout the week because I'm just living by myself right now and I don't need to be making recipes that serve 4 people and then eating the same thing for the next 3 days. So if you wanna check out beautiful Lauren's cookbook, it's not in focus, but you know, she looks pretty beautiful out of focus too. I will have the link below. I'll be talking more about it throughout this vlog, but now let's get into the recipes, or the what I eat in a day montage. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna have my week of eating officially start tomorrow on Monday, but I did some meal prep today because I'm actually gonna be out of the house for lunch and I wanted to take something with me. And Lauren has this section in her cookbook, oh my gosh, called the Bowl Bible. So I decided to make a few of these and sort of mix and match and customize my own bowl, which is really fun. Here is my meal prep setup. So I made 4 recipes from her cookbook actually. The Instant Pot just has quinoa in it, which I'm using as a base for everything. And then I made her miso roasted kabocha squash, which I'll be using later in the week as well. Some roasted cabbage, and then she has a recipe for some tempeh bacon flavored chunks. So I don't know, it's gonna be kind of like a fusion thing going on, but I think it'll go well together. And then I also made her use up the hummus dressing as a sort of condiment to tie everything together. I also decided to start my week out on the right foot and make some dessert, which I accidentally burned because I was watching Netflix, but I think they're still gonna taste good. Sorry, Lauren. As soon as I saw the recipe for these chocolate chip corn cookies in Lauren's book, I was like, I love corn in any form. So I had to make these. And I'm actually gonna have one now. A little extra crunchy, but honestly, I kinda like it this way. The flavor in this is so good. She combines corn with lime zest and chocolate, and you might think it's weird, like when you read it, but it honestly works so well. Because I overbake these, they're like even more perfect with a glass of oat milk. I started out my day with some coffee and then I just made the smoothie that I usually make when I don't know what else to make. It's just banana, chocolate protein powder, spinach, hemp hearts, flax, peanut butter, and enough water to thin it out. Pretty simple, does the trick. Sometimes I add cinnamon. So I just blended that up and then I had to leave my house pretty early. So I put it in a to-go container and then took it with me on the road. And then for lunch, I had that bowl that I meal prepped. So I had the tempeh, the roasted cabbage. This is the dressing that I put on top. And then my squash didn't fit in the bowl, so I just had that on the side with some oranges as well. And then as an afternoon snack, I had kombucha and these treats that were okay. So it's time for dinner. We're cooking a hot for food recipe. I'm going to be making the kabocha broth with udon noodles. So this recipe is going to be using some of the leftover miso roasted kabocha squash that I made for meal prep. We're gonna be using it in the broth. So I'm really excited. I love udon noodles, so I think this is gonna be really good. So I got all of my ingredients down here. We're going to start by blending all of the broth ingredients together until they're smooth and creamy. And then we're going to be heating that up on the stove, but in the meantime, we're going to be grilling some veggies on a cast iron grill. And then once the broth comes to a boil, we're going to cook some fresh udon noodles in it. I got mine at an Asian grocery store. They're so much better than the dried ones in my opinion. Then all we need to do is combine everything and top it with some chili oil and black sesame seeds, and we're ready to dig in. This bowl is massive and I know I'm gonna enjoy every single bite of this. That is good. On Tuesday, I had coffee again, but then I also had even more coffee because I decided to make Lauren's go-to smoothie recipe that she has in her cookbook. This was really delicious and creamy, and I love how she adds the coffee in it for an extra kick. I don't normally do that with my smoothies, but it was really refreshing. And I kind of changed the recipe a little bit. I added protein powder and she used cacao powder and a date, but either way, it was really creamy and yummy and satisfying. And then the rest of the day was pretty much the same. I had the same lunch bowl. This time I had it with some plantain chips, and I had the same dinner. I didn't film it. And then for dessert, which I actually forgot to film yesterday, I had some of those corn cookies and a glass of oat milk. I felt kind of under the weather today. Yeah, I don't know why, I'm just sharing. I made a matcha latte for part of my breakfast. I just used some soy milk and matcha powder. And then I had these chocolate orange waffles. I filmed a recipe video for them a few weeks ago, link it below. But I had one in my freezer, so I just defrosted it and put some peanut butter and banana on top. And then I also had this cinnamon infused maple syrup, so I drizzled that on top too. This took me like 5 minutes to make, and it was perfect. And then for lunch, I decided to make the spicy lentil wraps from Lauren's cookbook. Apparently this is like a riff on a Trader Joe's wrap. I've never had it, but I decided to try this out. I changed the recipe a little bit. I added some yellow squash because mine was looking funky and I needed to use it up. And then I kind of went rogue on the dressing too. I had harissa, so I just mixed it with my leftover hummus dressing from earlier in the week. But either way, you put the lentils in a lavash wrap with the dressing and some cabbage and then roll it up and slice it. I really enjoyed this, and I think it would be great to make the lentils ahead of time and have this as a quick lunch throughout the week. Then in the afternoon, I had a Pink Lady apple kombucha and some of these crackers because I wanted something crunchy. And for dinner, I sort of did a riff on these pasta recipes I've been posting on my blog where you basically roast the sauce in the oven. So I had some frozen tomatoes from our garden last year, and I just added some eggplant, yellow squash, red bell pepper, and garlic to it, and then the rest of the frozen tomatoes because I said, F it, we'll throw them in anyways. And then I topped it with some oregano and red chili flakes along with some salt. And then you really just drizzle everything in olive oil and roast it in the oven until it's nice and tender. I have a few similar recipes to this that are more like recipes. This was kind of just me flying by the seat of my pants in a YouTube video and on my blog, so I'll link those below. But I think I roasted this for about like an hour or so, and this is what it looked like afterwards. Basically, the tomatoes just sort of dissolve and form a nice and creamy sauce. So obviously, I'm not just gonna eat vegetables for dinner. I cooked some chickpea pasta on the side, mixed everything together. Then I decided to add greens, which I should have done ahead of time, but it worked out in the end. And then for dessert, I was finishing up those chocolate chip corn cookies with some oat milk. Good morning. Today is Thursday. I'm feeling a little better today, which is good. And I'm going to be shooting some recipes today, and I'm actually going to be sharing one of Lauren's recipes on my blog. So I'm going to go ahead and get started now. I'm not going to take like a recipe video for it like I normally do. I'm just going to take some photos. But because I'm not filming a video, I thought I would take you guys along with me. So we're going to be making her mung bean scramble. It's kind of like an alternative to a tofu scramble, and it uses mung beans. So the first step is actually soaking them. She said use a big bowl, but I'm gonna risk it and use a small one. So you're supposed to fill it with hot water and let it soak for an hour. So I'm gonna make breakfast while this gets going. I also can't really decide what I want for breakfast. I just did a workout. So I think I'm gonna make chocolate peanut butter oatmeal. That sounds cozy and good. And just use protein powder instead of cacao powder. Yeah, let's just go with that. Okay, update on the mung beans. This is what they look like at first. Then we soaked them, then we cooked them and strained them, and then I'm just gonna cook for a few more minutes in the pan. They kind of remind me of like orzo with this texture right now. They look nice and fluffy. Then I have the rest of the ingredients for our scramble here. Lauren said you can add extra veggies if you want. I'm gonna keep it basic. We have some garlic, shallot, nutritional yeast, turmeric, smoked paprika, black pepper, coconut cream. I warmed some oil in a pan. So the first thing we're going to do is add our shallot and garlic and saute it for about a minute. Then we're going to add in the mung beans along with the nutritional yeast and our spices. Then for our last step, we're gonna add in some coconut cream directly to the pan. It's gonna get nice and melty. And this is it. I think we're done. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heat off, and then you can stir in some kalana mock and chives too. I'm just gonna do a little taste test because I still have to photograph this. It was really delicious. Texture-wise, I think tofu scramble is more realistic to like a faux egg scramble. But I think like adding the creaminess of the coconut milk really helps it out. And I do think it's like really versatile too. I like how she added the smoked paprika because that's one of my favorite spices. Here's some behind the scenes. I just finished shooting and this is the last shot. The light is terrible right now. It's actually way better than this in real life. As much as I want to eat that mung bean scramble right now, I have to save it for later because I have so many leftovers in my fridge that I need to get through because I've just been so excited about trying all these recipes that I'm like, oh yeah, there's only one of me. So I had some leftover roasted cabbage from when I meal prep those bowls on Sundays that I definitely needed to eat. So I just put that in a bowl with some of my lentil filling and veggie filling that I made yesterday for those wraps. And then because I just did that shoot, I had a piece of toast and an avocado that I cut. So I'm having avocado toast. It's a weird combo, but it works. It's good enough for me. I drank this with lunch. Gonna have these as a snack. And I'm also gonna have a grapefruit sparkling water. Lots of beverages. I decided to be a rebel and make breakfast for dinner. So I don't really feel like cooking. I still have some computer work to do. So since I shot that mung green scramble, I reheated it with some greens. And then I made some like breakfast potatoes. Just tossed some potatoes and veggies with Old Bay and a little bit of spray oil. I have half an avocado from earlier, cilantro. We're gonna wrap this whole thing up and call it a day. First, I'm going to mash my avocado. Then we'll add in our vegan scramble. Lauren also, I didn't mention earlier, but does have a tofu scramble recipe in her cookbook. The thing that's really cool about these recipes is she gives you like 4 other ways to use them. I think there's like danishes, muffins. You can even make an omelet by like blending it up. But on it being a rule breaker, Lauren, there was no breakfast burrito, but hopefully you would approve of me repurposing because these are leftover from the lentil wraps too. Okay, anyways, veggies. If I had vegan sausage, I totally would add it, but I don't have any. And last but not least, I love cilantro. So we're just gonna pile it on. You could also add a hot sauce, but I add a jalapeno, so I'm not sure how spicy it's going to be. Bam, breakfast burrito. And I'm going to have pretzels, chocolate, and oat milk for dessert. Good morning. I'm not really hungry, but I know I should eat food because I have to run out to do some errands and have an appointment later today. So I'm just having a matcha latte, the same one I showed you how to make a few days ago. And I couldn't decide what I wanted to eat. So I just have a bowl of some apple slices. And I'm kind of just digging the plain apples. But I'm also gonna have some peanut butter on standby too. For lunch on this day, I made some hummus and avocado toast. I had some leftover squash still, and then I also had some bell peppers and extra hummus with a kombucha on the side. And for dinner, I decided to make the tortilla soup in Lauren's cookbook. I thought this was really, really good. I love how she uses shredded jackfruit. It kind of imitates like shredded chicken. Sorry, Lauren, I didn't make my own homemade tortilla strips because I was feeling lazy, so I just had some plantain chips on the side. I had a pretty chill day on Saturday, so I wanted to try a few more recipes. I decided to make the crunchy coconut granola in Lauren's cookbook. I thought it was cool how you just mix everything on the baking sheet instead of in a bowl separately. I've honestly never done that before. And this smelled so good when it was in the oven. And then to complement my granola, or balance out, I don't know, I decided to make some juice with my juicer. Lauren actually has some blender juices, but I have a juicer, so I just used that. It was like beets and a bunch of other leftover veggies in my fridge. So I sipped on that, and then when the granola came out, it was nice and golden, and the stuff formed like the biggest clusters. It's so crunchy and delicious. I feel like I've said crunchy and delicious like a million times in this, but it was really good and I would recommend it. So I had that for breakfast. And then for lunch, I had leftover tortilla soup. I topped it with some vegan cheese and cilantro, and I actually added in green cabbage and I had an orange on the side. In the afternoon, I had a hojicha latte, which is like roasted green tea. It has less caffeine. I didn't want to stay up all night, but I missed my latte. So I just made one with some soy milk this time actually, and I enjoyed it as an afternoon treat. And then for dinner, I made a pretty simple stir fry. I sauteed green onion, ginger garlic, and chili flakes and oil. Then I just added in some mushrooms and bok choy with a little bit of liquid aminos. Sauteed that, and then at the end I steamed some broccoli and the leaves from the bok choy. And I had some leftover quinoa, and I don't really like quinoa with stir fry, but I didn't want to throw it out. So I tossed it in there, added some chili oil, and served it with my crispy tofu recipe, which is on my blog. I'll link it down below. And we made it to Sunday. I started my day with a matcha latte and the same sort of waffle concoction I had earlier in the week. I just topped it with almond butter instead of peanut butter. It was my last waffle, which was kind of sad, but it was still good. Welcome to my basement on a Sunday. I ran some errands. It's really rainy outside, so I am more than happy to eat more of my tortilla soup leftovers. That was really bad filming. I apologize. This is my third day in a row of having it. Honestly, it's so good that like it doesn't even bother me. I'm supposed to save some to like use in other recipes, but I think I like it so much I'm just gonna eat it like that. And then I got a few more of these plantain chips that I've been eating on all week, so I'm gonna eat that with my soup that I topped with vegan cheese and cilantro. Like always. I had some peanut butter and chocolate chips as a snack because it was that time of month. And then for dinner, I reheated some of that leftover mung bean scramble with some veggies, and I just made a wrap because I was feeling pretty lazy. Added avocado, greens, and hot sauce. And for dessert, I had some oranges, dates, and pretzels. And that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of casual video. Don't forget to check out Lauren's cookbook and let me know if you'd like to see more videos like this that are for a longer period of time than just one day. Thanks for watching. Stay awesome. Have a nice life. If you don't watch again, bye.